Yeah, today I will be talking about Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela from South Africa was a member of the ANC political movement that was fighting for the liberation of South Africa when they were oppressed by the apartheid regime, the worst white supremacist segregative government that the African continent has ever witnessed, orchestrated by Dutch and French settlers. So during that time, the ANC was designated as a terrorist organization by the United States government, and Nelson Mandela was viewed by the Western world as a terrorist. So somewhere along the line in the 90s, when they realized that the movement for the resistance movement for the liberation of South Africa was gaining momentum, they realized that the white were to lose power. So the West and America, what did they do? They went into an agreement with their brothers, the racist apartheid government in South Africa, and came into a deal. And the deal was they will let Mandela be the president. Why? At that time, Mandela was in the prison. He spent 27 years before this deal was struck. Mandela will be allowed to come out of prison, will become the president, but the economic structure, the wealth will still continue to be in the hands of the white minority that were having about, I think, 5% of the population at that time, and they were controlling over 80% of the land. Today, they have 7% of the population, and they still control over 70% of the land. So they went into that agreement. So when they went into that agreement, they removed Nelson Mandela from prison. He will become now the president. Then they removed ANC from the terror list of the US. And that is when they started now praising Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela became a symbol of freedom and the rest. And I think he won the Nobel Peace Prize. So what you need to understand is Nelson Mandela compromised. Nelson Mandela compromised. Nelson Mandela was an African hero when he was in prison. But when he came out of prison, he compromised. Because there's no way somebody who is in prison will spend 27 years, come out and become a president of a nation without scripts being written. So this is what you need to understand. And one of the conditions given was that South Africa will scrap its nuclear weapon plan. Because at that time, South Africa was on the way of acquiring nuclear weapons. But now that they realized that the government will be given to black people, so they had to scrap that project. And now another thing, all those who perpetrated crimes in South Africa during the regime of apartheid, Peter Botha and the rest, none of them was to be prosecuted. It was part of their agreement. Nelson never prosecuted a single one of them. None of them was punished. None of them was taken to jail. They were pardoned like that. But we see during the Jewish Holocaust in Germany, after which world was this, Second World War, the I don't know how to put it, members of the Nazi party, many of them were judged, some were sentenced, some were even executed. But in the case of South Africa, the perpetrators were forgiven. Now, but Nelson never forgave his wife that has been with him throughout life. Nelson Mandela never forgave his wife. I don't know what happened between them. Some misunderstanding somewhere along the line, but Nelson never forgave his wife. But he forgave those who perpetrated crimes, the worst form of white supremacist government that ever existed on the continent of Africa. Nelson forgave them. So, in summary, what I want you to understand is that Nelson Mandela ceased becoming African hero when he compromised the movement for freedom. So you need to understand that till today, the problems are still there. Power has been given, some political power has been given to the blacks in South Africa, but economic power, the economic structure, the money, the world, the banks, the farms, the land, everything is still in the hands of white minority. And apartheid is still on the ground. You have not dismantled all the structure of apartheid, because there is a city in South Africa called Orania, all white city. No black person has the right to go to that city. It's only for white. And they're multiplying, the population is growing. So you need to understand that there is still apartheid in South Africa. South Africans, stop hating Nigerians, stop hating other blacks from other countries. Know that your real issue is the issue of the settlers who left Holland and France, came to South Africa and took your land. This is your real problem, not a brother from Nigeria or any other African country. Have a nice day. It's your boy, ENOW DE MULLER, doing my things my way. God bless you. One love, peace.